Hello and welcome to the Alpha Edge Podcast, the show for men over 50 who refuse to fade out, slow down, play small, or settle for average. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert, coach, and founder of the Alpha Edge, and I am here to help you get and stay strong in every dimension of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. You're here because you're ready to reclaim your power, to own your masculinity, and lead your life with strength and purpose. If you're ready to sharpen your edge, revive your drive, and lead like a man who's built for more, you're in the right place. All right, men, let's get after it. All right, guys, today we're going to kick off a 5-part series on the 5 pillars of strength. So this will be one of 5. So every Friday for the next 5 Fridays here, we're going to break down one of the 5 pillars of strength. So inside our Alpha Edge coaching group, we talk to our men in there about being holistically strong. We have 5 pillars of strength, and that is physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, moral strength, and spiritual strength. So that's what we're going to cover over the next 5 weeks on our Friday edition of the Alpha Edge podcast. For those of you that are maybe new here, we have what I'll call, for lack of a better term, a secular podcast every Friday. And then every Sunday, we have a biblical podcast where I take usually a story from the Bible or a theme, and I apply it to masculinity, men, healthy aging, all that good stuff. Because here's the deal. Every man needs to have strength in all 5 of these areas if he wants to be truly masculine and live with power and purpose. And so today we're going to start with the foundation of holistic strength, and that's physical strength. Because let's get real, aging is not an excuse to get weaker. It's the reason to double down and get stronger. So if you want to age like a man, not just to survive your later years, but to dominate them, you've got to build and protect your body. Now, this is not about vanity muscles or beach muscles. It's about responsibility. It's about being capable, about being the kind of man your wife, your kids, and your grandkids, and your community for that matter, can count on, because you're strong enough to protect, to lead, and to endure. Now, hopefully none of us will ever have to use that physical strength, say, in a fight, but we sure as heck should be capable of it, because strength is what keeps peaceful, right? So in today's episode, we are going to talk about why building and maintaining muscle is the single best investment you can make in your future health, longevity, and vitality, and why it's your duty as a man to stay strong. And if you're not sure where to start, I've got you covered. You can check out my Lean Body Blueprint workout. That's a 6-month, 5-phase training plan designed specifically for you guys over 50. This program includes 3 full body workouts a week that build muscle, torch fat, and supercharge your metabolism. And it's all delivered through my Silver Edge app. And heads up, this program is going to be half off for Black Friday. So I'm recording this at the very beginning of November here. So at some point, I know that program is going to be half off for my Silver Edge audience. But if you guys are listening to this at any time between when this releases and the end of November, you guys don't have to wait. You can just use coupon code Friday25, so Friday25 at checkout, and that'll actually save you 50% off that program. So anybody's interested in that, I'll drop a link into the show notes for you. All right, man, let's get into it. Let's talk about why physical strength is the foundation of every other form of power, and why a strong man is a dangerous man in the best possible way. All right, man, let's start here. Every one of you has an obligation to be strong. Not because it's nice to have muscles, not because you want to look good with your shirt off, but because weakness is a liability. It's a liability to you, to your family, and to the people who depend on you. A strong man protects. A weak man hopes someone else will. You see, strength isn't about dominance, it's about capability. It's about being able to do what needs to be done when life calls your number. It's about being the rock in the storm, not one that's swept away by it. And look, I get it. We live in a soft culture that celebrates comfort. We've been told that getting older means slowing down, taking it easy, letting things slide. But that's a lie that's stealing men's vitality 1 decade at a time. If you're over 50, it's not normal to be tired all the time, weak, sore, and out of breath walking up a flight of stairs. That's not aging, guys. That's neglect. You don't have to accept the narrative that your best physical years are behind you. You can reject it outright and replace it with a new standard that aging is your reason to stay strong, not your excuse to get weaker. Because here's the deal. Your strength is the foundation of everything else in your life. When you're physically strong, you think clearer, you lead better, you show up differently in every area of your life, at work, at home, in your marriage, in your faith. And if we're being honest, every man should be dangerous. You should be capable of being dangerous, capable of violence, but disciplined enough to never need it. That's real masculine strength. It's calm, it's controlled, it's capable, it's grounded. It reminds me of that saying, it's better to be a warrior in the garden than it is to be a gardener in a war. Weakness is chaos and strength is order. And when you build your body, you're not just building muscle, you're forging the kind of man who can carry the weight of responsibility with confidence and calm everywhere he goes. So no, lifting weights is not optional. It's not something you do if you have the time. It's something you owe to yourself and to everyone who counts on you. Because strong men don't just protect what they love, they preserve it. All right, so let's talk about why this isn't just philosophical. It's actually biological. Building and maintaining strength is the number one predictor of how long and how well you'll live. So again, strength isn't just about looking good. That's a side benefit. It's about staying alive and thriving. If you look at the research, one thing becomes crystal clear. Muscle mass and strength are two of the strongest predictors of longevity. Not your cholesterol, not your blood pressure, certainly not your 401k balance, but how much muscle you carry and how strong you are. Those are direct indicators of how well you'll live and how long you're going to last. Here's the reality that most men never hear. Once you hit 40, you start losing muscle, about 0.5 pound per year if you're not actively training. And guys, that is not just a cosmetic issue. It's not just aesthetics. That's a metabolic, hormonal, and quality of life issue. Every pound of muscle you lose means you burn fewer calories at rest. Your metabolism slows down, your joints get cranky, your testosterone tanks, your insulin sensitivity drops, and your energy, the drive that fuels every part of your day, starts to fade. That's why you see so many men in their 50s and 60s, they're walking around like zombies. They're tired, they're overweight, they're achy, and they're convinced that that's just what happens with age, that it's all downhill from here. Guys, that's not aging, that's atrophy. But here's the good news. You can stop it and even reverse it because your body is insanely adaptive. Even if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or even beyond, you can still build new muscle, regain strength, and reignite your metabolism. You just have to give your body a reason to adapt. And that's what strength training does. It is the closest thing we have to a fountain of youth. When you lift weights, when you challenge your muscles with resistance, your body responds by getting better. More muscle mass, stronger bones, more stable joints, better balance, sharper focus, higher testosterone, improved insulin sensitivity, and maybe most important of all, you get more confidence and vitality. You show up better in other areas of your life. You start walking taller. You move with purpose. You feel capable again, like you've reclaimed something that modern life tried to take away from you. And look, I'm not saying you got to train like a Navy SEAL or bench press a pickup truck, but you do need to be able to challenge yourself. And you need to progressively push the limits of what your body can do safely, intentionally, and consistently. Because the truth is, you don't get frail because you're getting older. You're getting frail because you stop training, you stop moving, you stop demanding more from yourself. You were built to be strong. It's literally in your DNA. Your ancestors weren't sitting in ergonomic chairs under soft lighting. They were out working, hunting, building, protecting, and you carry that same blueprint. That same warrior code is in your blood. You don't have to hand over your strength to time. Fight for it, train for it, earn it every damn day, because the man who stays strong stays free. Okay, so that's why strength training is essential. Now let's get practical with this. Let's break down exactly how we're going to build muscle, what we're going to focus on, how often we're going to train, how to fuel our body like a man on a mission. So in other words, let's talk about how do we do this? How do we get and stay strong? So let's start here. Getting strong isn't complicated. Or I should say, it shouldn't be complicated. It's just not easy. Because the plan, the path, that's actually pretty simple. If you follow these steps, you'll build a body that looks good, feels great, and performs like a man half your age. Step number 1, strength train 3 days a week. Look, there's no magic in 3 days a week. I personally prefer 3 days a week of full body strength training, but if you prefer 4 days, 5 days, make sure you're getting enough rest in between. That's fine. Don't get hung up on the details, but I love this idea of a minimum of 3 times a week devoted to actual strength training, lifting weights, real weights. These could be machines, dumbbells, barbells, heck, even resistance bands, kettlebells. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you challenge your muscles and give your body a reason to adapt. Like I said, I love 3 solid full body workouts a week. That's enough to transform your body as long as you train with intent. You got to push yourself, track your progress, and every week, and this is important, guys, aim to do just a little bit more weight, more reps, better form. That's the principle of progressive overload. That's the secret sauce of every strong, capable body on the planet. Because your body's only going to grow when you ask it to do something it couldn't do before. You don't need to crush yourself with any crazy, insane 2-hour workouts. You just need to show up, be consistent, and make each and every rep count. Step number 2, walk every day. Know this, strength training is going to build your body. Walking keeps it moving. I want you guys to aim for a minimum of 7,000 steps a day. That's your bare minimum. That's your foundation for heart health, fat loss, mobility, and recovery. And if you can walk outside in the sun, bonus points, that's even better because that's that vitamin D, better mood, and a chance to clear your head. You guys, I want you to think of walking as active recovery for your body and your mind. And then step number 3, eat protein like it's your job. Look, you want to build muscle, you need to feed muscle. And you can't build a house without bricks, and protein is your bricks. I want you guys to aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight every single day. That means, let's say, for example, you're a 200-pound dude, but your goal weight's 180 pounds. You should be aiming for around 180 grams of protein every single day. And look, don't overcomplicate this. Just focus on high quality lean protein sources, things like lean meat, eggs, Greek yogurt, whey protein shakes, fish, seafood, chicken, beef, just the basics. Your body needs those amino acids to rebuild what you break down in the gym. And when you get your protein right, everything else gets easier. Your hunger stays in check, your metabolism stays high, and your recovery improves. And then step number 4 is to add some intensity. So I want you guys to be careful with this. I want you to add intensity once you get your foundation solid. So you're lifting regularly, you're walking daily, and your nutrition is dialed in. At that point, you want to start sprinkling in some intensity. I'm a big fan of short bursts of high intensity interval training, so HIIT style training. These could be things like sprints, kettlebell swings, rowing intervals, or better yet, find a sport. Maybe it's pickleball or tennis or rock climbing, whatever gets you fired up and moving. Or even better yet, learn a martial art. There's something so powerful about training your body to move with precision, control, and purpose. Because remember, strength isn't just about muscles, it's about mastery. And then finally, step number 5, you gotta stay consistent. Consistency beats perfection every single time. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to show up. You can miss a day, but you can't miss a decade, right? Small wins stacked over time create unstoppable momentum because the man who lives today is stronger tomorrow. And the man who keeps showing up for himself day after day or week after week becomes unrecognizable 6 months from now. Now, if you guys want a plan that takes all of the guesswork out of this, one that's built specifically for dudes over 50, I got you covered. I've got a workout program called the Lean Body Blueprint Workout. This is a 6-month 5-phase program. It's got 3 full body strength sessions per week designed to build muscle, torch fat, and to rev up your metabolism. And it's all delivered inside our Silver Edge app. It's got exercise video demos for all the exercises in there, progress tracking, everything you need to succeed. And here's the deal. Like I said in the intro to this, if you didn't skip it, it's going to be half off at some point here in the near future. You guys can go ahead and take advantage of that now if you want. So if you're listening to this before the end of November 2025, use coupon code Friday25. That's Friday25, all run together at checkout. That'll save you 50% off that program. I'll drop a link to that in the show notes for you. But whether you use my program, the Lean Body Blueprint, or another program, make sure you are following a professionally designed, age-appropriate, functional strength training program. Because if you commit just to these basics, you're going to change your body, your energy, and your life. So guys, remember, we're going to train a minimum of 3 days a week. That means strength training. We're going to walk daily. We're going to eat our protein. We're going to move with purpose. That's how you reclaim your edge. 1 rep, 1 meal, 1 day at a time. All right, so let's go ahead and land this plane here. Let's wrap up. Here's the bottom line. You've got 2 choices. You can let time weaken you, or you can let discipline forge you. One path ends in regret and the other in respect, self-respect. Because at some point, you got to stop saying, I'll start Monday, or I'll get serious after the holidays. No, you won't. You'll just keep drifting, getting softer, slower, and smaller. And that's not who you were made to be. You were built for strength. You were designed for challenge. You were wired to lead and to protect and to endure. So quit waiting for perfect conditions. They're not coming. Start where you are with what you have and get to work. Here's your prescription. 3 full body strength training workouts a week, a minimum of 7,000 steps a day, and enough protein to fuel a warrior. You don't need a 6-pack, you need strength. Because strength is what lets you carry the weight that life throws at you and still stand tall. And remember, if you're not currently following a professionally designed, functional, age-appropriate program, if you've been winging it at the gym or just spinning your wheels, I've got one already built for you. You guys can check that out. I'll drop a link to that into the show notes. You guys can check that out in whatever app you're listening to this on. But know that that's not just some random cookie cutter plan. It's a system that's helped hundreds of men rebuild their strength and confidence from the ground up. All right, guys. So remember, the best investment you're ever going to make is in your own capability. It's in your strength. And the truth is, no one's coming to save you. Your strength, your energy, your health, they're your responsibility. But here's the good news. You're capable of so much more than you think. So start today. Pick up a weight, take a walk, fuel your body. And remember, you don't get strong talking about it. You get strong by doing the work. Every rep is a declaration that says, I'm not done yet. Every step says, I'm still in the fight. Every choice you make towards strength, that's you reclaiming your edge. So let's go, brothers. Build your body, sharpen your mind, lead your family, be the man who's calm under pressure, strong under load, and dangerous in the best possible way. You were made to be strong. Now prove it. Because guys, if you take nothing else away from this conversation, remember this: strength is the foundation. It's the root from which every other form of power grows, your mental, emotional, moral, and spiritual strength. When you're physically strong, life gets easier. Not because the load gets lighter, but because you get stronger. As my friend Mark Ripito likes to say, strong people are harder to kill and more useful in general. Another way of saying that is weak things break. And that's what this is all about. Becoming the kind of man who can carry the weight for yourself, for your family, for the people who depend on you. So if you've been drifting, if you've let your strength slip, let today be your wake-up call. Get back in the gym. Go for that walk. Fuel your body like it matters, because it does. Do the work. Reclaim your strength. Lead with power. And remember, you were made to be strong. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you this week. Until next week, stay sharp, stay steady, and stay strong. Okay, men, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to download our free guide titled How to Raise Your Testosterone Naturally. You can find the download link in the show notes for this episode on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. If you've enjoyed today's show, here are 3 ways you can support us. Number 1, share this episode with a friend. Number 2, make sure to like and follow this show, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Number 3, give us a follow over at Instagram. We're at Alpha Edge Army. So that's Alpha Edge Army all run together. I really appreciate you men taking the time to listen. And until next week, stay strong.